Hello, this is a Brave Knight Mercenary spotlight on Catherine. Catherine is a 5-star rarity magician. She enrolled into Rion's magic school with her parents having high expectations of her, just for her to realize that she cannot meet them. She had no talent in academics, and her timid personality caused her to gradually be isolated. She one day went to a forest to do a study for an assignment, and she met Michelle, who was fighting monsters in a prototype mech. Having never seen such a machine before, she developed a curiosity for mechs. Through Michelle's guidance, Catherine discovered her aptitude as a mech pilot, and she felt that she finally found her true calling. I'll briefly go over Catherine's skills, gameplay style, and provide some of my opinions on her. I won't be going over the details of her skills, but just the general parts of it. I linked the Brave Knight Encyclopedia in the video description where you can easily read on her stats and skill values. Catherine's first skill is Sextuple Attack. Catherine attacks a total of 6 times with reduced attack value. It's worth noting that this is currently the highest amount of multi-hits in one attack. It comes with a severe attack penalty, but Catherine's damage does not come from her attack stat anyways. Her damage is primarily based around her health. Catherine's second skill is Overload Strike. Catherine deals additional damage after normal attack based on her current health, and it consumes part of her current health afterwards. This is Catherine's main damage source. Since Catherine is hitting enemies for up to 6 times, Catherine's health will be steadily decreasing because she consumes health with each attack. Also, because Catherine's current health keeps getting lower, she is dealing less damage each time with Overload Strike. However, she has 2 other skills that apply damage amplification that counterbalances Catherine's steady damage drop. Also, at plus 15, if Catherine manages to score a kill with Overload Strike, she will heal back her life to full. This can add to her being able to deal more damage overall, as she is hitting enemies and they are dying. Her health will fluctuate constantly, but if she has the capability to fully recover her life, then her overall damage output is higher because Overload Strike deals damage based on her current life. Catherine's third skill is Incoming Damage Boost. After normal attack, Catherine applies Incoming Damage Boost onto her enemy. This is a stats weakening debuff, and it is stackable. At plus 14, this skill also removes barriers. Catherine's awakening skill is Burn. Catherine applies the Burn DOT after her normal attack. The burn is stackable, and since Catherine hits up to 6 times, she can apply 6 stacks of this burn. The burn damage scales with how much max HP she has, so the more max health she has, the more damage they burn for. At plus 12, this DOT also comes with 10% incoming damage boost. Catherine's gameplay is unique in that she is primarily used to carpet bomb a large AoE area and shred anything inside of it. Catherine's damage is deceptively high, and her additional damage scales with her current life, and her DOT scales with her max life. Anything that isn't immune to DOTs or has very high amounts of defense is liable to be blown by Catherine. Catherine carries one of the largest AoE coverage for an attack and sports the impressive 3x5 tile attack range at plus 10 and above. Catherine can devastate many units should she end up attacking. Catherine's main weakness is that she is fairly reliant on various conditions to truly deal damage. She can't do anything to 100% defense units, and a lot of her killing potential against big tanks lies in her DOT, which can be blocked by DOT immunities. Furthermore, Catherine herself has no defensive mechanics, so should she run into a counter that she cannot remove, she's likely to die as each attack of her multi-hit has her draining her own life. Catherine has no defensive mechanics at all, so she needs to be protected. This makes her reliant on specialized buffs such as Galenia's Immortal Drug or Belia's Skeleton Resurrection to help maintain her damage output. Not to mention, literally any kind of debuff can sabotage Catherine's performance or just flat out kill her. I'll go over what Catherine counters. Catherine does well in killing most units that do not have 100% defense or DOT immunity. Being a multi-hit unit, Catherine naturally preys on Lucius, Susera, and Yuri. With Belia's buff or Galenia's buff, she can also one-shot Seto. Catherine's strong DOT can instantly destroy Banshina, Kali, Calorone, Cecilia, and Glacia as well. I'll go over some Catherine counters now. Catherine has a lot of troubles killing anything that is immune to DOTs or has 100% defense. Angelica, Dalvi, Eden, and Levia are problematic characters that can't be killed by Catherine. Various other units also have some durability against Catherine as well. Elise and Beliath are interesting because they have Masochism, which allows them to heal in between every hit, and both are debuff immune as well. Brandhilder also survives Catherine well and can reflect her debuffs back at her. Some guards also present issues for Catherine. Catherine cannot play around Arcane Sacred Guard, and if she does not have Beliath or Galenia buff, Seto will kill her with his Reflect. Valtor in particular is also tough to deal with because if Valtor is within Catherine's AoE and Catherine has Beliath buff, she may or may not be able to one-shot Seto. This is where tile priority is an important concept to understand. Let me elaborate. When a unit with AoE attacks, damage and skill interaction is actually calculated within each tile one by one. The first tile calculated is always the main target. Catherine is a skip attacker, so in this visual, Seto is the first unit where her attacks are calculated. Afterwards, damage and skill calculation will go in order starting from the top left going down. I numbered the tiles at which they are calculated, with the lower number having more priority. The reason why this is important to know is because Baltor has Nullifier counter, where he removes all removable buffs from its attacker after normal attack. If Baltor has priority over Seto, then Catherine's attack will do all the damage and skill calculations with Baltor first, and she will lose her Galania buff afterwards due to Baltor's Nullifier counter. When it comes to the time where Catherine calculates her damage against Seto, Seto will live because Galania's buff is gone on Catherine, and Catherine will die. If Seto has priority, she retains her Galania or Belieth buff because she hasn't reached Baltor yet. Understanding AoE priority is very important if you intend to use Catherine as an option to kill Seto. Blazblue wrote a great article in regards to the order of which tiles are calculated with AoE attacks. I highly recommend checking that out if you're curious, and I linked the article in the video description. Anyways, back to Catherine counters. Raphithia's Gluti buff presents a huge problem to Catherine because Catherine will end up killing herself due to how low her life could be during her attack. Also, Raphithia's buff grants her allies healing on whenever they are hit, which is a headache for multi-hitters like Catherine. Lastly, Larkus is unique because he can outright kill Catherine with his counter while also being DOT immune. This all goes out the window though if Catherine has Galania buff. So some synergies with Catherine. Catherine's absolute favorite buff is Galania, as Galania enables Catherine to fully engage in her attack without fear of dying. Belieth is similar, but Belieth will only resurrect Catherine instead. Either one could be used to enable Catherine to one-shot the likes of Seto. Other supports that can help is Veronia and Stella, although allocating Veronia to Catherine isn't often worth it, and Stella is a very situational character to use. However, Catherine is one of the few characters that appreciate Stella's life-stealing mechanics. Catherine synergizes well with units who could take out walls that Catherine cannot break through. Angelica and Ventana take good care of taunters like Bane and Gran, while Levia, Alec, and Seto can take care of the 100% defense units. Angelica and Bane are also good units to take out Baltor, which is one of the most dangerous threats for Catherine. Catherine can also be used as a component for a Sola team, with Catherine being a mage and all. Okay, so for my opinion, Catherine was a pretty powerful unit on release, as she checked many units and presented a very dangerous threat. With the high rise of 100% defense units, Catherine began slowly phasing out, but she's actually still pretty decent. Catherine's main draw is her AoE carpet bombing that deals massive damage while being able to eliminate Seto and chip away at Lucius and Susera while causing issues for any other characters in the vicinity, by either inflicting them with burn or applying damage amplification onto them. Her general damage is also very strong. Catherine's largest issue by far is her vulnerability to dying as she is attacking, which forced her to be paired with Belia to get some reliability. But a new support exists now to help make Catherine a lot more stable, and that is Galania. Galania helped breathe new life into Catherine in a more accessible manner. Sola also makes Catherine a lot stronger, given Sola's damage buffs are very helpful. Even Sola's defense buff combined with Catherine's high health could be good in keeping Catherine alive better. Catherine is still pretty wonky to use, but in some situations she could be absolutely devastating. Catherine can see use in arena forms as a pretty aggressive choice. If she gets to attack, she can cause a lot of damage. If she doesn't get to attack, well, you got your other units hopefully to pick up the slack. She's also one of the best units for Ogdode and Dagdaron due to the sheer amount of damage that her burn can deal, along with her incoming damage boost amplification. So the question begs, should you build Catherine? And my answer is no. Catherine is a fairly difficult character to use in a way where you can get a lot of mileage out of her. She's good in some situations, but she's pretty reliant on many other units to truly make her shine. She's great for world boss, but other units could take her spot. However, she is a very fun character to use, and she's fairly underrated. A lot of her viability depends on Belieth and Galania, however, so if Belieth and Galania are lacking relevancy, then Catherine will suffer as well. Nullifiers or buff prohibition will be the bane of these three, and considering Balze and Mammonier are getting their companion update soon, Catherine is a very risky build. Should you plan to build her, her major spike occurs at plus 10 where she gets her 3x5 attack tile range. With Belieth buff, she's optimized to take out Seto. Plus 13 is where her burn becomes the strongest and can become valuable in taking out HP tanks that aren't DOT immune. Plus 14 and 15 are very unnecessary as they are defensive measures for Catherine, but overall don't do much in helping her stay alive. Overall, Catherine was very strong in the heyday of the mage composition where many formations ran Levia, Velfern, and Catherine. Various new characters helped bring Catherine back to life, but she always has been a fairly risky character to use. If you can keep Catherine alive, she could potentially make a big impact. I also dig how her mech in her unawakened form looks like the Terran Goliath. That unit was my absolute favorite thing about StarCraft 1. I wish I had that dude's voice. Goliath Online. Go ahead, TACCOM. Actually, let me try it with the pitch reduction and the distortion.
Goliath Online. Go ahead, TACCOM.
Ha, much better. Good times. Thanks for watching my Catherine Mercenary Spotlight. Please like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and thank you.